Lions TV, we are sponsored by Regal Elevators and Lifts Consultants Limited, a company that is owned and operated by a Millwall fan, just like every single one of the sponsors that you can see on the screen. Right, wait for it, now. If you are going to do a bit of business in 2022, then please keep it in the Millwall family by checking out all of our sponsors' website links in the description below. This is your post-match analysis video for yesterday's 1-0 battling brilliant display. I'm going to call it a brilliant display against Sheffield United at the Den. 4 straight wins, 4 points away from the playoffs. Dare we dream? As always, let's start out by taking a look at the 11 that Gary Rowett picked to start the match. Okay, unsurprisingly, it was an unchanged team from the team that's won away at Derby in midweek. Bulkowski in goal, 3 centre-backs, Hutchinson, Cooper, Murray Wallace, Scott Malone left wing-back, Danny Mack right wing-back, Billy Mitchell and George Saville as a central midfield pairing, and up front, the 3 strikers that aren't strikers, Tyler Bury, Mason Bennett and Jed Wallace. So that was the team that started the game, and I'm going to start by just talking a little bit about my day yesterday. I'm going to call this video The Chaos Returns, because I really felt yesterday that the Den was back to its bubbly, shall we call it, best. It was just weirdos everywhere, loads of crackpots, all of us just mixing in and giving everything we got in the stands and on the pitch. And just walking down the road, I met some guys from Israel, just come up to me and said, "Excuse me, looking for the ticket office?" And he just said, "I've come today from Israel. I've been to Premier League games, but I've never been to a Championship game. I've been told that Millwall is the place to be." And I said, "Well, if you catch it on the right day, it is." And I think yesterday, hopefully he's gone back to his motherland with a big smile on his face. Because I felt, despite the football not being great, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was a good game technically. I thought it was quite a bad game technically. There wasn't many chances. There wasn't many nice patterns of play. Both teams kept giving the ball away. And as Pete's mate said in their post-match video, Sheffield United are a bit of a bully side. And I felt it was a very physical, very intense, very scrappy game where whoever managed to be the better bully was going to win the game. And of course, that was us. And as I said, you know, randomly, or strangely maybe not the QPR performance, but I enjoyed this one more than the Cardiff game. I enjoyed this one more than other wins we've had recently, because it was just a Millwall type win. And people may say, well, we want to get away from that. We want to play nicer football. I've always said I'm not fussed about great chances and great goals and league positions. I mean, look, if we get promoted, which isn't impossible, you know, in the near future, of course I'll take it. We love to look back at the days of the 87, 88, 88, 89 seasons. I was 9 years old at 89, so I sort of half remember it. But to have that time again, just to look back in 20, 30 years' time and have the iconic 1 or maybe 2 seasons that we'll have in the Prem, if we did manage to get there, to experience that now as an adult with my son personally, I'm sure a lot of you feel the same, would be a phenomenal achievement. But I'm getting ahead of myself talking about the playoffs. Let's talk about the game. As I said, unchanged side, rightly so. Again, even if it wasn't rightly so, not a great deal to choose from on the bench. It was a chaotic day for me start to finish yesterday. My phone died, and when I say it died, it had 70% battery when I went to use it in Bluewater yesterday morning to use my Apple Pay. By the time I got to the Den, I'd managed to get it switched back on. I stopped at an EE shop, and the guy did all this technical stuff with the buttons and eventually got it to reboot. But about half hour before kickoff, same thing happens, blackout on my phone, and I use the personal hotspot to fuel the stream. I get directly on my personal hotspot, and that's what I use as my Wi-Fi to get the stream going. So, no stream. Got talking to a guy in front of me, said, "Oh, watch your channel, you're fucking amazing." We didn't say that, but he said, "I watch your channel." I've had to borrow his Wi-Fi to get the stream going for the first half, so I missed all the pre-match stuff. And it was just chaos yesterday. I couldn't control the stream. There was people in the box next to me. And, you know, people say to me now as well, "Oh, the full-time reactions, now you've gone into the stands, into the box, it ain't as good." And I get what you mean, but I don't think it's where I was. I think it's the atmosphere at the Den. And yesterday, because make no mistake, I went into them boxes as well, by the way, strongly believing that it's going to be a bit quieter in there for me and I can concentrate. There's absolute crackpots in them boxes. It goes off in them boxes. It's you know, don't worry about that. It's as mental in them boxes as it is in the stands. And yesterday proved that. At full time, there's people jumping all over the place, absolutely lagging. Party atmosphere, just brilliant. And I think the team and their attitude towards the games recently have driven that. Now, I'm not saying they haven't been trying. I think they may have been unleashed. And as Pete's mate said in their post-match, you know, the shackles do seem to have been let off. The shackles do seem to have been let off. And look, for those saying that you wanted Rowett out, how do you feel now? You must be embarrassed. Well, no, I'm not. Listen, I put myself out there to be struck down. It's not often I'm wrong, but it looks like, you know, maybe. I think I'm impatient as a person, and let me tell you why, because it's just the way I've been raised. I can't help that. I don't get a bit deep now, but this is the reason. My old man always drummed into me, if you love something, or you're invested in something, or it's good, you know, it's what you love to do, or it's your passion, or it's your livelihood, you have got to put absolutely everything you fucking got into that. And then you'll get the absolute most out of it. Now, I'm not saying me personally has driven the team to improve, but I think as a fan base, look, by the point, I said it early doors, Rowett out, Middlesbrough away, we know when it was, okay? Everyone said I was mad. About 6 weeks ago, we did a podcast, 5 weeks ago, me, Henry, and Kenny. And that was 99% heavy with Rowett out. Henry was the only one, and he took some serious shit that night about that podcast, and he'll be able to rock in here like Conor McGregor, because hoping we're going to do a den debate tomorrow night. But that's on ice. I'll have to confirm that on social media. But a lot of people wanted Rowett out. And let me tell you this. I think the way our fan base is, the foundation of our club, is to demand the best. We're not a happy, clappy club. We're never going to be a happy, clappy club. That's not easy to say, by the way. But especially twice in a row. We're driven towards demanding the best. And players want to play for our club. We want the players to play for our club that have got snot blowing, gum showing, true Millwallness, desire, fight, giving everything for that shirt. And I don't think there wasn't. I feel they was being restricted. I feel they was being held back. But they've got a bit of confidence about them now. We've got a couple of wins under our belt. I'm not saying it's been lucky by any stretch. I'm not taking anything away from Rowett. But the drive towards this has all sort of been created by the hype of us having no players. And I feel that if we was a club that settled for less or settled for whatever we got served. Look, you go to a restaurant. What type of person are you? Ask yourself this. I clearly go to restaurants. If you go to a restaurant, okay, or you stay in a hotel and you get served shit, are you the sort of person that goes, oh yeah, don't say nothing, no. That ain't a bit of me. If I'm paying for something, if I'm invested in something and I've chosen to be there, then I fucking want the most out of it. And I will fucking let you know if I'm not happy with what I'm being served. I wasn't happy with what I was being served by Gary Rowett. I felt he was holding the players back. I felt he didn't have confidence in the players, and they were better than he gave them credit for. And I feel now finally, as I said, a couple of wins, bit of confidence, we're finally being allowed to express ourselves. If we had drawn that game 0-0 yesterday, I still would have walked out of there for the first time in a long time with a 0-0 draw saying, can't fault it. Because we was on the front foot. We tried to create. We was in their faces. We didn't let them settle on the ball. We had fantastic shape. We moved around the pitch as a unit. There was a detachment between the forwards and the midfielders. We put our bodies on the line. We give everything we got for that cause. And that is all we fucking ever asked. So for those saying you was wrong about Rowett, well, there is one way to look at it. However, another way to look at it is we're like a different side. I'm sorry, I'm not even counting the Cardiff game. The last three games, QPR, yesterday, and the other game, which I can't remember, Derby, sorry. We've been like a new side in that 3 games, and I don't know what's happened, and I don't know what's clicked. And the oldest cliche in the book is football is a funny old game, and I can't explain it. Maybe the togetherness of, we really got to get together now, boys. But I did feel that Rowett could motivate the players. I did feel he was holding the players back. But we looked like a fucking new side. And we moved now within 4 points of the playoffs. And I keep saying, we're not going to make the playoffs. Well, look, it's fucking there. It's there if you want it now. And it looks to me like they very, very much do want it. It's a perfect time to go on a fantastic run. And Reading have been hammered again. We've got Reading next Saturday. We're taking 2,000 fans. If you saw Peter O'Mara's call to arms, by the way, I'm going to put it on social media. The back end of his YouTube video. I watched it again this morning. Absolutely brilliant from Pete. So, we are in with a chance. Someone also pointed out to me yesterday that we've still got to play Huddersfield at home. We've still got to play Nottingham Forest at home. Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough at home. We've still got Forest beat us, and Lewis Grabban scored the wanker in the 90th minute. Anyway, that's done and dusted, and that's in the past. With the exclusion of Fulham and potentially Bournemouth, Anyone's beatable in this division. And I've always believed that. And that's where my frustrations partly came from, because I think our players are good. And I think they're proving that they're good now. Let's get into the game, because funny enough, as excited as I am, and as buzzing as I am once again to do the post-match analysis, and as happy as I am to keep looking over social media, if you watch the highlights, not really a lot happens. Not really a lot happens. From either side, it was, as I said, a scrappy, intense, physical affair, and that's absolutely fine. That can also be an enjoyable game. You don't always need the Tyler Bury finish, and the Jed Wallace flick, and the Millwall playing like Barca 2009 Mason Bennett goal. You don't always need that. You just need to club together a little bit of Millwallness and a little bit of grit and determination. So the actual game started out, I felt we was on the front foot. As I said, the stream was playing up. Mason Bennett went off injured. Again, he's been brilliant for us lately, but that's the only worry about him. I'm not sure what happened with his injury. He did walk off, of course, and not stretcher/limp off. So hoping that's not too much of a serious one. Then Railway does something quite, I was going to say strange. But it isn't strange because we won the game. So fair play to the gaffer again. He brings on George Evans and changes the formation. So I'm thinking, did he use that as a window of opportunity? Did he see something he weren't quite happy with that was going on the pitch and might have to change this? And then he did change it because he brought George Evans on and he moved Jed and Tyler Bury into a central striking duo, which sort of killed their... didn't kill their involvement in the game, but made them less of an attacking threat, I felt. Jed's got to play in that 10, absolutely. And Tyler Bury is obviously dangerous coming in from the wide, especially on the left, as we've seen now, with him scoring a few goals. So he changed it for his reasons, which he has, which worked. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm actually pleased he did, because what he usually would do is wait till we've gone 1-0 down before he decides to change anything. But we get to half-time at 0-0, and I can't remember a shot on target from either side. I felt we was the better side in the first half. I felt we edged the physical battle, as I said. I felt we tried to get forward, but no one could really get on the ball, and it was quite a scrappy affair. But as we know now, and as we've learned from very recent previous experience, you get to half-time at 0-0 and you're shooting towards a goal line, you're in with a fucking great chance. And the second half, again, a little bit more of the same. Bart has to make one save, Geezer from distance, left foot, gets underneath it, tips over the bar. In real time, I wasn't sure if it was a cross that's gone wrong. We've seen a lot of them go in for us and against us this season, but it was a shot. It looked like a shot, definitely. I watched the highlights back this morning. Danny Mack has one from distance, deflects, and their keeper then spills it. The deflection should have made it easier for their keeper, but he's thrown him a curveball. He's done his head in. He's fumbled it. George Savile's on hand, puts one across the goal line. No one can tap it in. And I feel like at that point, I said 2-2. I thought it was going to be a draw. We're heading towards a stalemate. And we get a free kick, little dolly, as you've seen, probably if you watch the live streams or you keep up with the content on the channel. It's one of them where it's almost too close to get the perfect ball. So what he does, he just goes, fuck off, puts it high. As it comes out the sky, who's going to be the first man underneath it? Of course, you do the math. You do the trigonometry. That's not right, I don't think. Anyway, 6'7" of him, Jake Cooper, he's going to be the first one there. And it was a better header on reflection of watching the highlights than I gave Cooper credit for, because he absolutely fucking cannonballed it in, didn't he, with his nut, the big unit, and he runs off and celebrates in front of the Dockers lower. And after that, you know, that was pretty much it. A scrappy affair. We sort of cancelled each other out. They tried to come forward, had a lot of the ball, but we were so good in our shape, we were so good defensively, so good in without possession of the ball, that they couldn't really carve any opportunities out. Sean Hutchinson limps out, and I'm hearing that's a calf injury. Hoping he gets better soon, of course, but you've got the luxury now, Daniel Ballard coming on. And I thought he was fucking brilliant when he came on, Ballard. I thought he defended really well, along with the best of them. I couldn't pick anyone out, really, for a man of the match yesterday. I didn't think anyone played unbelievably well, but I didn't think anyone was bad. I thought they all did really good, really good. I give the whole team yesterday, on the basis of we won the game against a team that had won 6 out of their last 8, and we kept a clean sheet and 4 straight wins. I give the whole team probably an 8 out of 10. If they had played nice patterns of football and not, give the ball away so much, I probably would have said 10 out of 10. But it wasn't to be. That, in that sense of flair football, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter. We get the job done. Sheffield United, we'll all go home again, saying Sheffield United, well, they didn't show much. I'm going to give credit to our team again, like I did against QPR, like I did against Derby in the first half. We didn't fucking let them settle. We was on the front foot. We went into that game with the intention of trying to win it. I can just see it. I can just see that they have. I can see they're full of beans, and we fucking march on. As I said, we're 4 points away now out of the playoff spot. Luton, little old Luton, and we've still got to play away as well, by the way, currently occupy 6th spot. So, not impossible. Not impossible. Everything points towards it shouldn't work. We've got no budget. One of the smallest clubs in this division financially. Crowds aren't fantastic, numbers-wise, but the atmosphere was electric in here yesterday from where I was sitting. And we've got no fucking fit players. So many injuries. Bad transfer window. 5 low knees all injured, other than a phobia who's back on the bench. Everything points towards that we should be miles out of it, but I think that's the fucking Millwall batting now. That's the Millwallness kicking in. Maybe when the chips are just, you know, they're not even really anything, they're just chips. But when the chips are down, and we can see we're in the shit. Right now we club together and we've fucking turned it around, and Rowet's turned it around, and listen, I'm not embarrassed. I'll fucking, listen, get us to the Premier League. Do my YouTube channel, fucking world of good. I know it's not a good idea for clubs to keep changing management. If he can carry on motivating them and allowing them to be on the front foot and letting the shackles off, then I'll fucking, as I said, I better get that foot massage booked in for Mrs. R, because it looks like it could be happening. That's your lot for this post-match analysis. And again, I'm absolutely buzzing to do it. I'm genuinely, hand on heart, tingling inside talking about it again yesterday. And as I said, it wasn't an amazing performance, technical-wise, was it? But it was a Millwall-type performance. And we beat Sheffield United and end their unbeaten run, giving them their first defeat in 9 games. And as I said already many times, because it's starting to excite me, moving to within 4 points of the playoffs. So, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us 4 points of the playoffs. I'll say it one last time. Potential podcast tomorrow night. I'll be in a hotel in Newcastle, but I might try and set that up. I know you'll keep asking for the podcast more regularly, so what I've done today is I've set up a WhatsApp group to speak to the 3 or 4 boys that want involved. Because if I speak to them separately, like, we can just all converse on that WhatsApp group, and we seem to get the ball rolling. Try and get that done weekly. I've also got a Lions Lounge lined up, and it's a good one, a great player for us in the 90s, but I'm not going to say who it is, because I do that a lot because I'm excited to tell you and excited to make that breakthrough. But then, for whatever reason, like Andy May, for instance, I had to cancel Andy May, and then he hasn't been able to do it since. And it's sort of, I said you was getting it, and now at the minute you're not. So I'm going to build them up on the back burner, and then probably release them as a series. I think a little bit further down the line, maybe even for the summer, because we're so busy now. Games everywhere. I think there's 15 left, and I said I was going to 13. We keep playing like that, I might just go Stoke and Preston away. Who knows? But I'm going to leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I will be back at some point during the week, if for nothing else than a preview, as 2,000 fans travel, make the short journey to Reading away next Saturday. Shout out to Juicy Jake, by the way. Not only did we do the double over Sheffield United, but so did the big man. They must be sick of the fucking sight of him. Please subscribe to Lions TV. Come on, you Lions.